Welcome, guys, to your dose of crimson reality. This is Red Pilled Robo. Since Halloween is about a week away, on theme, I want to discuss a very scary topic: American politics. I want to talk about the American voting system specifically, as of course the election is also coming up. I don't want this channel to be particularly political, but more about society at large. However, politics is an unavoidable subject when it comes to the Western world, and I believe it would be a disservice to not discuss it. Now again, I'm not so concerned about giving my personal opinion on politics. My views develop as I learn new information, and I'm very willing to change my mind. I think that's the sign of someone who is honest. After all, if after a decade or so, your views haven't changed a little bit, I think it often means you are ignorant and not willing to learn. Now, I think it's no secret that I'm fairly conservative, but not at all in the way you might think. Matter of fact, my biggest enemies often are the people who label themselves quote conservatives. This is because I like to think I have a very nuanced view. The truth often is, I happen to hate Democrats and Republicans alike. They really are the same to me, to be honest. Hopefully after this video, your mind will be changed if you don't agree. So to start, I just want to say, I think voting is stupid. I haven't voted since 18 years old, which was the only time I voted. And I regret it, as it was a total waste of a good afternoon. I think it's stupid when people say, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Just wanted to make that clear. Now let me explain why. If you truly understand how our voting system works, and if you've seen some of the shady operations in the recent elections, you'd know voting is entirely pointless. Firstly, I just want you to think about something. Over the last 100 years, we've had Republicans and Democrats elected back and forth in all offices of our country, from local to presidential levels. As a result, what has happened to the country in 100 years? Is it better, worse, or the same? Are you really going to tell me that because we voted for the last 100 years, we're better off than if we didn't vote? I think it's obvious our quality of life has dramatically gone down. Everyday Americans own less than they ever had. If your answer is to continue doing what we've been doing for the past 100 years, and just vote it out, I think you're stupid or just insane. I'm here to tell you, voting is not the solution, it's the problem. Voting is simply put an illusion. It's a facade to ease your mind. It's there to assure you you have some kind of control over the tyrants over you. If voting works so well, why are we even discussing the issues of our system? Shouldn't voting have fixed all that by now? See, the idea of voting fits into the ideology of individualism. The individual is what Western society really tries to sell to you, that all the power in your life is in your own hands. It lies to you by invoking the selfishness of human nature. It says, hey, you can do this all by yourself. You're so smart and awesome all on your own. You don't need other people, a community, or circumstances to go your way. Just manifest what you want. See, that's bullshit. I want you to consider something. If the individual is so powerful that their situation is mostly decided by them and their own choices, then think about the other 7 billion individuals on the planet. In this vein of understanding, they would have at least 7 billion times the power you have. So unless their interests are perfectly in line with yours, you have 7 billion times the amount of willpower working against you. See how silly this is? So much for the great power of the individual. No, in fact, most of your life is decided by factors completely out of your control. Your decisions are a very, very small part of the world and your life. It doesn't mean they are useless, just not as powerful as many would have you believe. Most people cannot live with this realization, and so at an early age they lie to themselves to maintain a sense of control and feed their ego. But reality is your decisions mean nothing when compared to the power of the universe at large steering you through your life. This is an incredibly humbling realization, and to be honest, I think it's a beautiful thing. This means you never have to wrongly take the blame for someone else abusing you. This means you can be honest about your achievements and not become bloated with pride based on what is mere circumstance. It's really about looking at the world honestly. Don't gaslight yourself. This is why fooling the population into thinking voting matters is so easy. Most people have never made this realization. They think too highly of themselves and their accomplishments. They love to think they are so important that their choices are steering the direction of an entire country. Reality is this country is run by a few powerful people who decide the results of the elections. And if they don't decide them, they just change the options so that no matter who you vote for, they get their guy in the ring. Want an example? Every single U.S. president except John F. Kennedy is related to British royalty. King John of England, to be specific. That's right. And they got rid of JFK as soon as they could. Even Obama, who is praised as the first black president, was really an illegitimate child of a member of the oligarchy. His mother was the one who was part of the American oligarchy. His father was just some random Kenyan guy she hooked up with. It sounds crude, but it's the truth. The idea of some poor, normal guy working his way up into the American presidency is not unlike the American dream, and matter of fact, everything America stands for. It's fake. Voting is the same. If you disagree and want to say something like, well, you can't complain if you don't vote, I think George Carlin put it really well.
So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around, I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who in fact did not even leave the house on election day, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with.
Wow, this man wasn't a comedian. He was truly a prophet. So you might say, well, I'm going to vote anyways, just in case it does matter. Okay, I can sort of understand that a bit, but I still think knowing the truth, it's a stupid thought. Let me give you an example. The ancient Greeks used to have people called oracles. They were usually young virgin women who would predict the will of the gods by looking at how leaves rustled on trees, having a dream, or rolling dice. Important political decisions were made based on the results from these oracles. This was their decision-making system. This was also very stupid, and that's why we don't do this in America. If you acknowledge that voting is rigged or a stupid system to make decisions by, then would you be willing to bring the Greek system of oracles back? After all, it might work, right? If you were living in the times of the Greeks, knowing their system was false and made up, would you still consult the oracles? Of course not. So why are you supporting the lie that voting works? See, I think that's two-faced. If you stand for the truth, I think you have an obligation to not take place in silly, stupid rituals, which really are just lies. All this does is propagate the lie and prevent more people from seeing the truth about our political system. I think this is incredibly harmful. I have an alternative offer. Why not do something good for someone in your community instead of wasting an hour or two waiting in a line to interact with a pointless endeavor? Because if you voted, you didn't really accomplish anything. You didn't actually help anyone. You could have given $1 to a homeless guy and made more of a difference. But no, you decided you'd rather waste your time doing something completely fucking useless. See, I think that's why America gets the leaders they deserve, because Americans are lazy pieces of shit that would rather waste their time than actually do something that matters. I'm ashamed to be an American because of this. I want nothing to do with people like that. So do your part this election. Don't vote. Don't propagate a system that is based on lies. Don't waste your fucking time. Do something real. And to those who insist if you don't vote, you can't complain, tell them that they willingly voted for the system we have now. They endorsed it. They have no right to complain. After all, I believe, you get what you fucking deserve. Thank you guys for watching. Stay awake. This has been Red Pilled Robo. I'm shutting down. Until next time.